Hello and welcome to the Poe-Cast. I'm Benjamin.
And I am Christopher.
And today is one of our clap and slap everything together and we're just going to have fun and talk about whatever's on our mind.
It's that sort of Poe-Cast.
It's that sort of that sort of Poe-Cast. It's also one of those Poe-Casts where Benjamin can't talk and things like monkeys instead of muffins are made.
Yeah.
What was I said earlier? Experts instead of experts?
Esperts?
Esperts. Yes. We talk about experts and stuff.
Why is
so,
this
what are we going to start with? What are we going to start talking about first? I think you said you had something to show me.
Army updates.
Army update.
I have Grail Knights, everybody.
Ooh.
These are the most powerful knights in the Bretonnian war host.
Now, what are they, like, what is their lore in the Bretonnian war host?
In the Kingdom of Bretonnia, Grail Knights are... You can just leave that there.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. Grail Knights are knights who have already kind of earned their lands and their title as a lord of the realm by serving as a knight errant. Basically, that's an untitled, unlanded knight. Yes, you've already been knighted. You're a knight. You're part of the nobility, but you're just you just have your coat of arms and your sword and lance, and you're riding around winning glory. So they've won their glory. They've served the realm as a landholder, as a lord, as a knight of the realm. And then, inspired by a vision of the Lady of the Lake, they set out as a questing knight on their quest for the Holy Grail.
Those questing knights look really cool when you make them.
They are really cool. They're my favorite because they've got so many... Because they're questing knights are basically like traveling not just over Bretonnia, but all around the old world.
Literally questing knights.
Questing knights, searching for the Holy Grail. And they're really cool because they've got all kinds of stuff and on their packs. Basically, they're carrying what they need to survive.
They're pretty much carrying their entire castle. Well, I won't say castle, but their entire room with them. They have their entire room. Which for a knight in full armor, full plate mail and chain mail, that's a lot. Especially to keep your armor and weapons maintained, and your horse fed and yourself fed, and if you happen to be a blind knight, to keep you and your seeing eye boy. Yes. Fed. Except for your one cool blind knight, which you made just a blind BA knight.
Just a blind BA knight. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're carrying a lot of equipment with them, some stuff that they've, acquired over their quests.
Plunder. Did I say that? Knights don't carry plunder. Knights don't loot villages. What am I saying?
They might loot a troll's hoard. Now
that would be something. Trolls have a lot of stuff. A dragon would be a true loot, but trolls are okay. Trolls, you get some nice things.
Yeah. So, but the most resilient, the most virtuous knights, the most committed knights
are your Grail Knights,
who have actually, passed all of the tests and proved their worth, and not only done many great deeds, but proved to the Lady of the Lake. They proved their worth and have faced her champion, the Green Knight, and defeated him.
I posted a picture of that guy on the Poe-Cast for anyone who's listening. He looks really cool.
Yeah, he's one of the models that I want to get. I'll do a little bit of tweaks and twigs with him because I want to make him a little bit more not so knight in armor, a little more fey, a little more fairy, a little more woodsy, bestial. Yeah, a little more bestial.
There we go. Yeah.
And so when they have finally proved their worth to the Lady of the Lake, she appears to them in person and allows them to sip from the Holy Grail. And they basically become saints on Earth. And very, very powerful knights. They literally have like magic coursing through their veins.
So now, don't they become slightly immortal as well?
No, they do die, but they are blessed with a long, long life.
And if you aren't like Christopher, then the models look like skeletons in shining armor riding horses, if I'm correct-ish.
Those are not Grail Knights. That's actually the Grail Reliquary.
So those are actually the personal guardians of the Grail itself.
Well, yes. To explain the Grail Reliquary, there are some peasants who are so devoted to the Grail Knights, because the Grail Knights, literally, they're living saints. So there are peasants because these Grail Knights they're not worshipped, but they are
revered.
They're revered as being being the epitome of all the knights in the realm, like the highest lords in the realm, and they of course have a large following of peasants and men at arms. So when the Grail Knights do finally die, this one particular model from the 6th edition of the Bretonnians. Hopefully we'll get a new edition.
Lovely 6th edition.
Yes, the 6th edition is great. I really do like the 6th edition.
But, so, to continue your explanation of the
Grail Reliquary.
It sounds to me kind of like what the Emperor in 40K is, as how they've earned their, I don't want to say immortality, but their extended life through the belief and, well, I guess I can really just say the belief and hope of others and what they think of them. Ish.
As to the 40K Emperor, whether
he's different. He's a different case.
Different. I mean, the Grail Knights have get their power and their extended life from the Holy Grail itself, from the Lady of the Lake.
So okay, it's not through the belief.
To explain, right? No, it's not through the belief. Whether the lady gets some of her more and more powers given this
through that. That's a different story. But yeah,
that's a different story. To explain, within the Warhammer mythos, belief is very, very powerful, and it can actually influence things, the powers of others, and things like that. To explain the reliquary, to finish explaining the reliquary, when a Grail Knight dies, of course they have this huge following and huge kind of reverence from the peasantry. Sometimes the Grail Knight's bones are kind of collected together in a reliquary. They're relics, like the relics of medieval saints. And this particular one, the bones have kind of been put back together in a full kind of human sort of
literally put back together.
Put back together as a human skeleton, and a lance is tied to its right hand, and a Grail emblem is tied to its left hand, and it's sitting on the horse, and there's the shield on the back, and there are candles.
Oh, so that's what that is. Okay,
yes.
So it's not an actual rider; it's literally just a skeleton tied to a saddle.
It's peasants carrying a skeleton.
Okay, that actually makes me slightly get some more respect for the Bretonnians back. I had lost a little bit when I saw that picture. I was like, "What?" Okay, that explains a lot.
See, and the reason you thought that is that you got a peasant holding the horse head where the horse head would be. So it looks like these 6 peasants are the horse that the dead knight is riding on. Well, but really, it's just a Grail Knight.
My goblins are ready to turn and run. It's a zombie knight! Run away! Just staring at that, I was like, Christopher doesn't like zombies. What's with this? I remember when we first saw, what was it, the vampiric counts and their units. It was like, ooh, undead hordes led by vampire knights. No, not cool.
I have to say, the Lich King is about 75% cool.
Wait, which Lich King?
The Fantasy Lich King.
The Fantasy Lich King. Because there's the Fantasy Lich King, and then we've got World of Warcraft Lich King. Wow.
No, not the World of Warcraft Lich King.
I think that Lich King.
The Warhammer Fantasy Lich King looks about 75% cool.
I think the WoW one is pretty cool.
Yeah. No.
Especially the fact that his title can be passed, but that can be talked about in a different thing. Oh, wow.
We'll have to do that over Skype, though.
Yeah, I think my account's still working. I don't know.
Your Skype account?
No, my WoW account.
Oh.
Actually, no, it isn't, because I only paid for 1 month subscription. Yeah, I'm gonna have, if I remake it, I'm gonna have to delete my Tauren and have his name involve Pi, because that is something I've started doing now. On MMO I have. Mm-hmm. Because in memoriam-ish to what the Poe-Cast was originally going to be called, I've started adding Pi. Yeah. I mean, that's my username on Minecraft, is Dwarf Pi. And actually in a game that I'm going to tell you about in this Poe-Cast as well at some point is my character's name is Pie Striker. Pie Striker. I couldn't figure out for a cool first name, so his nickname is Pie, and his last name is Striker.
Okay.
But
well,
his name
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and talk about that?
About that game. Okay. About a year and a half ago, I heard of a game called Planetside. And it had long since been disbanded. It was one of the first, computer MMO first-person shooters, which involved infantry combat through first-person shooter, mechanized combat, such as tanks, four-wheelers, etc., and air combat. And this was, 1999, 2000 when when I saw I saw this in 2008 or 9, but the videos were back in that time, so everything was blocky. It looked like Shadows of the Empire, that old Nintendo 64 video game. If you remember that, Christopher's wincing and twisting his head. But they announced
Shadows of the Empire was the first great kind of cross-platform media event, because you had the novel, you had the comic book, you had the game. I think you even had an audiobook back then.
I think you did.
So
audiobooks were a big thing back then.
And hey, you even had action figures. It was like the first...
Kyle Katarn? No, that wasn't Kyle Katarn. That was Dash Rendar.
That was Dash Rendar. Kyle
Katarn is Jedi Academy.
I have just sprayed glue all over my...
Ew, that's going to be nasty. But anyways, to continue explaining, Planetside 2... They came out with Planetside 2, which, of course, is much improved graphics and gameplay. And literally, I know, because I've never actually been in a case, but I'm still going to say this anyway, it is the closest thing that the normal person will have of being in an actual firefight involving tanks and stuff. To explain my first story, I played it for a little while and I logged out because my computer wouldn't handle it, but now, a year and a half later, I have a slightly better computer. It's still very temperamental, but I turned down all the graphics and pretty much shut down everything.
I tell you, all your computers have always been slightly temperamental.
They have been. I think Cortana lives in them.
Yeah, the rampant Cortana.
The rampant Cortana.
Yeah.
But so essentially, my Planetside 2 looks like Planetside 1, but still, regardless, it's fun gameplay.
Yeah.
But my first story, I logged in, I'm playing as the faction called the New Conglomerate. There's three main factions. There's the Terran Republic, which is kind of your good empire.
You're humans.
You're human. Everyone's humans.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's humans.
Okay.
But they're the main government. They're the main government. They've been in charge for a long time. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Then you have the Vanu sovereignty. They are pretty much all of your scientists who have decided they're going to rebel because they found alien technology and they believe that that's going to pave the way for leadership. And everything about theirs they have hover tanks, they have energy weapons, and it's all about for the Vanu sovereignty, for knowledge over power, blah blah blah. And the Terran Republic is duty before this, strict military regiments, blah blah blah. Then I play as the New Conglomerate with some friends who are pretty much your rebels. As quoted by my friend Dan, America! Pretty much. They're the rebels. They're about justice before, or death before, liberty for death, or something. I don't know. Not an actual American saying. It's something they made up. I can't remember. But I play as them. Anyways.
Liberty or death.
We'll say liberty or death.
We'll just say liberty or death.
We'll say liberty or death.
That just solves things.
That solves things. I get on. I decided to grab a four-wheeler, and I just started goofing off. I'm driving around in circles. And I hear a siren. Now, about this time I had gotten off and went back inside and was playing around with my infantry specs. And I will never make fun of movies again that have this happen. I went outside when I heard the siren going off, and it turned out that there was an air raid. I had no way of knowing this was an air raid, but our entire base is being bombarded by two squadrons. Two full squadrons, I should say. So that's 24 fighters, 12 fighters per squadron. And, so I will never make fun of a movie when people go running outside when they hear a siren. Because I did that. Anyways, I grabbed a four-wheeler, and I started driving, and this giant armored van pulls up alongside of me, and there's a light tank following him and a few four-wheelers, and they message me through voice chat. They're like, hey, what do you want to roll with us? I'm like, yeah, sure, anything to get out of here, and besides, we're supposed to kill things. So we started rolling together, and we followed this road, and we ended up getting chased by a couple of the fighters from the squadrons. Really cool chase sequence. Not even cinematic or planned in the game. These are all in-game players. There's nothing NPC in this non-player character in this game.
Good.
Everybody you see is literally in front of a computer somewhere in the world.
So, hey, this sounds a little bit like Eve.
Eve, yeah, I'll get into Eve in another episode.
Okay.
But anyways,
this isn't the Eve thingy.
No, this is no way related to Eve. We ended up driving to... We ended up getting the tank blown up. A couple of the four-wheelers in front of me got shot out. And I was like, okay, this is really getting intense. And we ended up driving into a base. The tank kind of smashed through the force field gate. I later found out that a couple infiltrators had gone in there earlier and shut down the gate when they heard him coming.
Gotcha.
But still, really cool that this is all actual players coordinating this. And we go in, and I was the only engineer, and he's like, hey... deactivate this, you're an engineer. I was like, oh, okay. I happened to deactivate, and he's like, now guard it, and ran away, and I kind of sat there with the turret. Nothing really happened. Rather anticlimactic for me, but I got some experience points, and we took over fort. Then we went over, and we tried to attack another base, but it was at the top of a hill. Really cool being bombarded by artillery fire, kind of running away from snipers and artillery fire. Eventually, me and some guys decided to charge the base to get in there and try to open the gate for our tanks.
Okay.
The guy in front of me got sniped. I ran and hid behind a rock for cover, and we had about 2 or 3 light tanks at the base of the hill. And then they launched a big tank, and I was like, you know what? My computer's lagging really bad. I'm going to die anyway, and I need to log off. So I pulled out my C4. I charged the big enemy tank, dropped some C4 on it, and then I got shot by a sniper. And right before I died, I detonated the C4 and destroyed the tank. Not really. I just kind of crippled it, but it sat there long enough.
So the way you described it to me is...
I'm literally just hiding behind a rock like,
you're hiding behind a rock.
The sniper's gonna get me, and I see this tank.
They saw you. You died behind the rock. You had another guy with you.
Yeah, the guy...
Bam! He got sniped.
He literally crossed... I'm running, he crossed in front of me and somehow stepped into the sniper shot that was meant for me. It was like, rock!
And
I'm staying here.
You hid behind the rock until the tank came up, and you dived out. And they're like, what? We shot him! And you
pretty much
slap the bomb.
I could hear the guys yelling over voice chat. They were cussing out the fact that they thought they'd killed me.
And they shot, and you detonate the bomb.
Pretty much. It was awesome.
It was kind of awesome.
Guess what time it is?
Oh no.
So, my army update isn't really much to update on, other than Christopher was very generous and got me 2 new orcs. One to start my fantasy army, and one to continue on my 40k army.
I hope he fits right into your 40k army, because he looked pretty dang cool when he came in the mail.
I forgot to tell you this. I looked up their specs. He has a 4-foot range on a battle board.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
4 foot?
4 feet. 4 feet. That's like how far he can shoot. That face. Christopher's hiding in his closet.
Do you know how freaking huge that is on a normal, Warhammer battlefield? That's like the whole battlefield.
Pretty much. They just sit in the corner and they're like, oh, there's people. And literally their tactic, I was watching an orc tactica, he says, these guys are used for killing anything infantry and glancing tanks to death. So they were literally, if this was an actual battle, they'd be just bullets ricocheting off the tank until it exploded.
Or penetrate, or denting the tank until they blow through.
Or just crumple it around itself, just kind of crumbles.
Have you had enough of those guys? And the tank just
kind of crumples. Because everybody inside gets squished.
Seriously, you're talking about a gun that is like the size of Warboss Fragmud.
Pretty much.
I'm not even kidding.
That gun is almost as tall as Warboss Fragmud.
Like, seriously. It's like...
I'll post him when I get him painted.
It's like you got this harness that goes around the entire, head to waist
yes.
of the orc.
And it's mounted on his shoulder, but he has to use 2 hands to hold onto this thing. It's literally
he's using 2 hands.
It's literally the size of a cannon. It's like a Gatling gun. Okay. It is an A-10 Warthog gun, if anyone's familiar with that aircraft. Huge Gatling gun on his shoulder, practically. It's Any Army geeks who know that, you guys are going to be going, what the heck? Anyone who doesn't know that, look up an A-10 Warthog. I'm sorry, that's not even a plane. That was a gun that was designed to fly. Yeah. It literally is. The gun is as long as the plane when you actually rip the fuselage off. But anyways, the other orc is actually from fantasy. He's a black orc. Black orcs... Okay, so there's a catchphrase for the orcs in fantasy. It's called animosity. Pretty much every turn you have to make an animosity check, and depending on the roll, the orcs may completely ignore your orders and attack the nearest enemy unit, or they'll get mad at one of your friendly units and attack your own units, or they'll just stand there and argue and not do anything for a turn. Black orcs don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't handle that bleep. They get mad when it happens. And they quell animosity, as their keyword states. But anyways... He got me a black orc, and his backstory, I've decided, is he's going to be the original founder of the Black Tiger clan, back 40,000 years ago before he was even thought of. He was like the first orc who had thoughts of making a clan like that.
And you've got to his tiger pelt has got to be black.
Oh yeah, I'll have to make him one from green stuff.
Yes.
But I have an orc story this week.
Okay.
Unlike last Poe-Cast, where we just kind of geeked out over pictures and stuff.
Over pictures of work stuff.
So this is the story of Snorko the Sneak, as told by Benjamin, so it's going to be having a lot of embellishment.
That's fine. We always like when he Benjamin stuff.
Snorko the Sneak was a goblin in service of a giant war boss, and as you know about goblins, orcs don't like them. They're pretty much get bossed around and beat up by orcs all day long. And this is a story based in the fantasy universe. The orcs and the war boss went to war with the elves one day, the high elves to be exact, and sooner or later Snorko was pretty much latched onto the back of, holding on to his war boss's belt as the war boss is flying through the air atop his wyvern in a dramatic fight with the high elf prince who is riding his dragon. We're talking full fire-breathing winged 6-limbed dragon. Or actually 7-limbed when you count for the tail. Anyways... He did what any self-respecting goblin would do in the case of a giant war boss fighting an elf riding a fire-breathing dragon. He just pulled his helmet over his head and prayed to God above that he would survive. Eventually the fight went on, and the dragon snapped at the war boss, who ducked, and poor little Snorko was gobbled up whole. Aww. By the dragon. Yeah, aww. Eventually, some point during the fight, the dragon ended up choking and dying, allowing the war boss to kill the high elf as the dragon toppled out of the sky and crashed into the ground below. Later, after the battle ended and the orcs had won, they started butchering the dragon to eat it, and they ended up cutting open the throat, and they found little Snorko still alive, scared to death. Apparently what had happened when he pulled his helmet down over his head and the dragon gobbled him up, the spike on the helmet lodged in the dragon's throat, causing it to choke and die. The war boss was so happy and indebted to the goblin that he promoted him to be a full-fledged war boss, which Snorko was the first goblin to receive that honor. He was pretty much high command, second in command of all the orcs underneath that war boss. Sadly, though, he did not survive the celebratory beatings that orcs give each other whenever celebration is called for. The end. So pretty much he was here for a day. He killed the dragon, not meaning to. They pull on, "Hey boys, look, it's little Snorko." Hey guys. He's just kind of shaking, covered in dragon goop. I'm alive. They're like, "Yeah, you're war boss." And they start patting him on the back and slapping him on the head and blah. And he just, after the entire army got through patting him on the back and slapping him across the back and patting him across the head, he died. He just got beaten to a pulp. I feel like they're just like, "Hey Snorko, you ready to go eat? Snorko, why aren't you moving?" Pick him up, he's kind of like, bleh. His helmet falls off. "Hey boy, Snorko's dead." "Well, throw him on the fire, we'll get some more barbecue going with the dragon." Shove him in the throat again, maybe it'll make it tasty.
Yes.
So ended Snorkel this week.
Oh, goodness.
I consider myself pretty good at calling movies. My roommate was slightly annoyed at me when he took me to see Thor 2, and I predicted everything that Loki did. I was quite proud of myself.
That's because we now know Loki,
and
he's kind of a little bit cliched.
He is a little cliched, but still, it's kind of cool.
I mean, if you've seen Thor and you've seen Avengers, you kind of know his tricks.
He's got some better tricks in Thor 2, because everyone kind of realized that all the girls are coming to see Loki, not Thor. So Thor 2 should have really been called Loki Part 1.
Loki 1.
Loki 1, yeah. But still.
Loki 1.
Loki 1. Loki 1 Kenobi. Oh my gosh. That's just... Actually,
no, I wasn't meaning Loki 1 Kenobi. I was meaning Loki 1, like Loki is victorious.
Loki 1. Yeah, actually, that's very true. Spoiler alert, yeah.
Well, of course he was gonna win!
Well, you
seriously.
Put that before... Yeah, okay, never mind. I was gonna say, put that before... no, yeah. You guys can just complain if you haven't seen it. I'm sorry if I spoiled your entire life. It's almost when I hadn't read...
It's almost like me telling you that Matt Smith regenerated a couple days ago.
No, that didn't shock me. That wasn't me, that was someone else.
Yeah, I know. No, I wasn't meaning you, I was meaning, like, them.
Oh, them?
Who are complaining about spoilers.
Actually, that was...
We like the new Doctor, by the way. Get over yourselves.
I haven't seen the Christmas special. No, we'll talk about Doctor Who for a little while.
I'll talk about Doctor Who.
Yeah, what did you think of the Christmas special?
I didn't like it. Good riddance, Matt Smith. Can we get rid of Moffat, too?
Yeah,
can the BBC just like cut funding?
Now, personally,
actually, okay. Can the BBC cut funding in half, please?
There we go.
I think that Doctor Who has become a little bit enamored with its success and is going out on a limb to be like, oh, we're going to do some cool stuff, and you really need to cut yourself in half and have to say, basically do the George Lucas thing. You're okay. You're fine. You're doing that. Okay. Now you gotta do the same quality of work with no sleep.
Mm-hmm.
They're still doing it. Okay, we're gonna take your meals away.
By the way,
still going.
No
still
money,
going.
no
Okay.
money.
Now we're gonna turn the oxygen down a little bit.
Oh, it's still working.
Basically, the George Lucas thing, where he pushed them to do the absolute best they could with as little as they had.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you stop to think about where Doctor Who got its origin, the origin
of Doctor Who,
the origination. I saw Finding Nemo today. That's why I can't talk.
This explains it. Why didn't you tell me before we started recording?
I can't remember. I have short-term memory loss.
Well played, sir. Well played.
I suffer from short-term... But no.
So, is there anything else to talk about? We'll talk about...
is there anything else?
How long have we been recording for?
About 30 minutes.
So yeah, honestly, I'm sorry, fans, but I didn't really care for the Doctor Who Christmas special. I thought that there were
we were talking about
story loopholes that were never filled. I thought there was some logical inconsistency trying to wrap up the whole... It's not much of a spoiler to tell you that the Silence story gets wrapped up. I'm not going to tell you how.
Okay. Yeah.
But it gets wrapped up.
Don't spoil the Christmas! But no, I personally... Now, this may be because I haven't watched as much Doctor Who.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I'm not saying I was crazy about it, but I enjoyed it. Zygons could have been thrown out the bloody window. Just throw them out. Don't even talk about them. Don't even mention them. They were pointless to the story. Queen Elizabeth, was it? No. Which queen was it?
Queen Elizabeth I.
Was it? Okay, Queen Elizabeth. That was slightly enjoyable and funny. It was good comic relief. Now, okay, I will admit, for anyone who's yelling at me, the Zygons were cool. Yeah, it wouldn't have been as funny with that Zygon joke about the Zygon being the horse. But if you had the Zygons in there, that's all the longer they should have been in there. Just the horse joke. Oh my gosh, Doctor stops him. Yay! And then Matt Smith appears.
Yeah, no, seriously. The 50th anniversary would have been so much better if you threw out Rose Tyler. Because she was blatant fan service. That was not Rose Tyler. That was a hologram using the face of Rose Tyler.
Oh, the Bad Wolf girl. And David Stein's like, oh, Bad Wolf? How do you know about... Oh, okay, well, never mind. And it's... Yeah, no. Why would... Okay, even though the moment, as it is, the moment, knows everything that goes on, ish, kind of, sort of. She's kind of omniscient.
She's okay. She's a Time Lord piece of technology that has gained sentience.
So
therefore, she can totally like
see everything.
Timeline everything. Time travel.
Sure. She can timeline everything. Especially when she's talking to someone and she can kind of tap into their timeline.
Right.
But still, really, as much as I love Billie Piper and have a celebrity crush on her, and she has 2 sisters, by the way. Random fact. Found that out today.
I have to say, I don't like her mouth. Her mouth is huge, and she lisps, and I'm sorry, but...
that doesn't bother me at all.
Okay.
But anyways.
I hate my mouth. My mouth is too big, so I think that's why I hate her mouth.
Well, anyways. I still crush on her. No, that's fine. This is totally fine. It's totally fine. There's one of my friends, he posted a picture. He's like, I don't know if any of you knew, but Billie Piper has a sister, and there's a picture of Billie Piper and her sister. And he's like, how will I choose? And some guy was like, oh, she actually has 2 sisters. And he posted a link to the third sister's Twitter account. And they're he's like, how do I make a decision? There's 3 of them now. I said, I'll make it easier for you. Dibs on Billie Piper. And now the rest of you can fight over the other 2. I haven't seen his response yet, but I'm sure it'd be funny.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, that was, like you said, blatant fan service. I'm not saying she was pointless. And as much as I love Billie Piper, we did not need to see her face.
Right. She did a great performance. Possibly her best performance in all of Doctor Who.
It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was an amazing performance. I just really wish it wasn't her.
Yeah, it annoyed me too.
Actually, I don't say it didn't. I won't say it annoyed me, but it was just like, that's Rose Tyler. That's Rose Tyler. Even though the moment doesn't know she's Rose Tyler, that's Rose Tyler. It's going to bug me.
It bugged me to no end.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the Christmas special, though. I will say, I saw someone posted the Matt Smith regeneration, and I was like, I'm going to watch this. I don't care about spoilers, because Cal is going to kill me. He's going to slap me in the face if he's listening to this right now. Especially when I'm saying it this way. Doctor Who, since it is a time-traveling show, I personally believe, because I've seen it this way, you can start anywhere you want and hop around and skip as much as you want. Sometimes it's hard to understand, but since it's time travel, you can easily get back into the loop by hopping and skipping around.
Exactly.
And that's why I can easily spoil it for myself, because I can kind of feel when to stop, and I stop there. But
the Christmas special will make no sense, regardless what you have seen or haven't seen.
Yeah, okay.
There's no logical consistency.
But Matt Smith...
There are actual loopholes.
Matt Smith's regeneration into...
Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi, thank you. Matt Smith's regeneration into Peter Capaldi was the best regeneration I have seen, and I saw them all on a YouTube video. Because it wasn't like, oh my god, literally, Moffat... Well, okay.
Actually, no, okay, I will challenge you. Have you seen...
Actually, let me rephrase that. It was the best in this sense. They didn't give the fangirls, all the ones who are crying that they're never going to watch Doctor Who again because they got this new old guy that they can't... Sorry, I'm going to say it, that they can't fantasize about. Angry nerd coming out here. Moffat did not give them time to cry. It was literally, hands are glowing. Oh, kidneys! Kidneys! It was like, okay, yep. I'm okay with this. I literally jumped in my seat. But I was okay with it after that. I was like, well, that was over with. And at least we got the beautiful moment of him dropping his bow tie. That's all I have to say. At least he gave you that. Be thankful, slobbering fangirls, that he gave you the bow tie being dropped on the ground. Because that was more beautiful than a long, drawn-out, dramatic regeneration.
Yes, it was. And I have to say, to all you fangirls, I have been where you were.
Yes. I remember listening to him rant on the phone for about 20 minutes.
About how I wouldn't watch Doctor Who again because they were taking away David Tennant. Get over yourselves. The 11th hour, Matt Smith's first episode, was Matt Smith's best. episode.
I still need to see that full episode, but I saw the entire scene with him and Amy. Oh my, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. But anyways, we should probably wrap this up.
So we're going on a bit long. I apologize. Yeah, I'll probably edit this down, try to get it to half an hour.
Half an hour, 40 minutes. It'll be fine. Shorter than it usually is. But anyways, I'm Benjamin.
I am Christopher.
And this is the Poe-Cast.
We are done. I think we're done. We're always going to have a little bit rambling at the end where I don't know how to stop. So
okay.
Okay.
Let me throw it on the ground.
No. And that's it. We're done. Good night.